Rochelle White, you are the first one today. Good morning, welcome. Enrico Sadola, you are always one of the top ones. Omonike Mofelola, Bosse Fayajola, Niyo Lushola, Daniel Atsenga, Bidemi, oh, Dr. Sufficient. Good morning, but in your place it should be like, is it night? Christy Bassi, Joyce Errol, Idowu Gideon, Greatness of SARS. Wow, what a name, Greatness. Pastor Lemmy Benga, Ide Opok, Isaac Owolabi, T.Y., Bro Say, Jen Ragowski, Tres Osai. Okay, here we go, guys. Good morning again, and today we're going to have an amazing time together because I'm going to be talking today about delayed gratification, the message of delayed gratification. Now, please, will you quickly go and share the button? Please go and share the message. If you look at your device under this video, you'll be able to see some form of you'll be able to see some button or some instruction on how to share the message. Go ahead and share the message. You are not going to regret you did. And as you are sharing it, make sure you also write some comments and some remarks so that people will know how important it is for them to listen and to watch these videos. You know what? I don't think I'm going to leave this thing in a hurry. I think I'm going to keep on hammering on this topic until I get the attention of our Nigerian churches and our religious believers. So I'm afraid this message might lead me right into the new year. I'm afraid this message might lead me right into the new year because I want to help the body of Christ, especially the African body of Christ, as much as possible. So here we go. The topic of today is, listen closely now, the message of delayed gratification must replace the message of miracles and breakthroughs. In our churches today, we focus too much on the message of miracles and breakthroughs. And I am coming to you to say, rather, the message of instant gratification must be the replacement. We must start a campaign whereby our churches stop preaching and laying too much emphasis on miracles, because that way it's like we are looking for the miracles. We are running after miracles. We must come to a place whereby we change that focus in our churches and begin to tell people not to run after miracles while still believing in miracles. So we still believe in miracles, and we still want people to keep on believing in miracles and trusting God for miracles when necessary. We don't want people to run after miracles anymore as they are doing right now. But we want people to rather know that they can create their own miracles with their own hands, that they could actually take responsibility for their own countries. They can take responsibilities for their own destiny. They could take responsibility for their own lives. Yes, God is able to do miracles. God is a miracle-working God, but God is always there. But the only person that is able, the only person that is, the only condition for which miracles will come is only after you've done your best. You've got to do your best first. You've got to, prove to God that you deserve the miracle only after you have proved to him that you have done your best. If we don't do our best and are constantly asking for miracles, what that would mean is that we are abjugating our responsibility to God. What that would mean is that we are telling God to go ahead and do for us what we were supposed to do for ourselves. And that is the height of irresponsibility. So God does not want us to be irresponsible. God does not want us to, because of him and because of his kindness, he doesn't want us to lose our sense of responsibility. He doesn't want us to lose our sense of manhood just because he is able to help us. Helping us does not incapacitate us. God does not want us to be morally incapacitated, and he does not want us to be spiritually incapacitated, and he does not want us to be especially mentally incapacitated. But what happens to people when they begin to rely on miracles more than they rely on hard work is that they begin to lose their capacity. They begin to be mentally incapacitated. What happens to people when they begin to rely more on miracles than they rely on the dignity of labor is that at a point they stop working altogether. What happens when people begin to emphasize miracles and breakthroughs all the time is that they bring up the culture of indolence and insolence upon the culture, upon the country. People become indifferent and lazy. People become irresponsible. People become, people are laid back. But even more importantly, in a country and a society where miracles and breakthroughs are being emphasized, people lose the sense of priorities. People misplace their priorities. So the misplaced priority will be that the believers will rather go to church than to go to work. The believers will rather wait for God's favor than to build factories and industries that will be able to supply their needs. The problem with it is that people will rather be praying and fasting for God to come and fix the economy and deliver them from recession instead of them to roll out processes of production. So there are so many downsides to the message of looking for miracles. There are so many downsides to the message of pursuing and following after miracles. There are so many downsides to the message of instant gratification. So instead of instant gratification that we always look forward to through the message of miracles and breakthroughs, we should begin to put that down. We should begin to de-emphasize that. We should begin to let people know that God is not a magician and that the church is not it's not a magical center, and that the words of the pastor are not magical words and they are not witchcraft words. We should begin to let people know that no, it is virtues that make a man, not prosperity that makes the man. It is not money that makes the man. It is virtue. We should begin to let people know that it is virtuous to delay your gratification. We should let people know that it is not a vice and it is not a show of weakness when you live by the principle of delayed gratification. But we should let people know that delayed gratification is what makes the man. We should let people know that it is only the man that is able to delay his gratification that is a man indeed. We should let people know that only through delayed gratifications could you be able to come up with other virtues and character traits that really qualify you to call yourself a human being. We should let people know that delayed gratification will lead to patience. We should let people know that patience is what is needed to see through any process of production. We should let people know that people who don't have patience don't achieve anything in life. We should let people know that it is through delayed gratification that patience comes. And if you have patience, you'll be able to see through any goal that you want to pursue. We should let people know that through patience you can work for hours. It is only thanks to patience you can persevere. We should let people know that without perseverance, that nothing great comes to pass in life. We should let people know that it is perseverance that leads to great accomplishments. So delayed gratification is one of the greatest virtues that our nations and our churches need to embrace. Because it is this virtue that will give us the foundation for both patience and long suffering. And it is long suffering and patience that will give us the composure to be able to start long-term projects that will last for generations. It is only through patience and long suffering that we'll be able to build our industries. It is only through patience and long suffering that we could come up with inventions for the future. It is only with patience and long suffering that we could actually come up with technological know-hows to fix our nation's economy. It is only through patience and long suffering could we do researches and build research institutes and technological universities. It is only through patience and long suffering could we stay long enough in the laboratories to discover all the things that are the answers to the things that are plaguing our society and our world today. We should let people know that it's only through patience and long suffering could we get our youth to once again fall in love with the libraries. It is only through long suffering and patience could we get them to begin to read again and to begin to discover the secrets upon which our world stands. But without delayed gratification, there is no patience. Without delayed gratification, there is no endurance. Without delayed gratification, there is no perseverance. Without delayed gratification, there is no persistence. And without delayed gratifications, there is no future. There is no tomorrow. There is no stamina. And there is no strength. And delayed gratification is the mother of them all. Without delayed gratification, there is no self-control. Without delayed gratification, there is no power over self. Without delayed gratification, there is no willpower. Without delayed gratification, there is no purposeful pursuit. Without delayed gratification, goals don't get met and objectives don't get accomplished. So delayed gratification is a major virtue that is gone missing from our national life and from our pulpit. And since I've made my point to you guys that the values of a nation emanate from the pulpit of the land, and since I've made the point to you that even though value systems come also from the educational system, but we know that in the nation and the continent that we come from, that even educational functionaries and bureaucrats belong to one church or the other. So they also depend on the values that are being dissipated from the pulpits. And also value system come from families. But every family member in our nation belongs to one church or the other. So they get their values also, from where? From the churches they go to. That's why our churches and our pulpits are key to refocusing and redirecting our society and our nation. Yes, value systems also come from the mass media of the land. But we know that all our stars and our actresses and our directors and film producers are all church members. So they get their value system from the churches as well. That's why if we fix our churches, we can fix our nation. That is why I don't think that the greatest challenge that we have in our continent, in our country, is coming from the politicians. I think politicians are less problem for us. I think our greatest challenge and problem is coming from our pulpit, my dear. I think our pulpit and our churches, either they are Muslim mosque or Christian churches, are responsible for any kind of menace that we see in the society today. I think these churches are responsible for creating the value system, the faulty value system that we now see prevailing in our nations and even in our governments. So, for things to change in our life, in our national life, we must address the question at the very root of it. We must address the foundation upon which any society is built. And the foundation upon which any society is built is called values. It is values that inform your decisions. It is values that dictate your responses. It is values that tell you what your attitudes and patterns must be on a daily basis. We fed on values. Values are as a result of the information you are exposed to on a regular basis. Values come to you by what you hear. Values come to you by what is spoken about around you. Values come about through what has been taught to you. Values come to you through the things that you constantly hear. The conversations at the dinner table. The messages that you are hearing while seated in the pews of them churches. Those are the basis for your foundation. For your values and foundation. Your moral foundation and character, they directly depend on what you hear. And since we trust the church more than we trust most other institutions, we are at the mercy of the pulpit. And so that's why if the pulpit of Nigeria today and Africa is busy propagating the messages of miracles and breakthroughs, that means indirectly they are telling us that we only need to depend on God for anything we need because we are actually totally helpless without Him. And that means that we don't need to develop our professionalism. That means that we don't need to develop our expertise. And that means that we don't need to be as skillful as we really needed to be or as other nations need to be skillful. And that when they tell us that it is miracle that makes the day and it is miracle that decides our future, that means we don't really need to work hard anyway. We only need to pray hard. So that means that if they tell us that miracles and it's only God that will come and fix our problems, so the only person that I need to work on is work on God and convince Him why He must come and give me what I need and not the other guy. He must give me, he must not give the other guy because the other guy is asking for the same thing. And that's why we come to God and tell Him that we need this breakthrough or we need that breakthrough for which He had actually given you hands to work with. We need this breakthrough, we need that breakthrough. You are asking from God. Meanwhile, He has given you brain to fix it. We come to church, we are asking God to bless this, to bless that, whereby you just need to go with your feet and make it happen. But because we've been told continuously and because we don't believe what is true, we believe only what we continuously hear, we end up believing what not the truth, that it is only upon us our destiny belongs. Our destiny is only upon our hands and shoulders. We don't believe that anymore as such. We believe that, without God we can't do anything. Why? That might be true to some extent, but God has already given us life. He has already given us everything, not letting us know that without Him we cannot do anything, because without Him, if He removes the oxygen, we are dead. We cannot do anything, but we have taken that to the extreme, telling people that without God they cannot do anything. But let me tell you the truth. God has provided everything everybody needs to function on it so much that He will be irrelevant. God Himself makes Himself irrelevant in the day-to-day running of the earth. He makes everything under laws. He put everything under principles and laws so that everything will have from him, but they will function autonomously without him coming to put it on every minute, or for him to come and be hearing the cry and prayer of everybody every second and coming to run to come and help every individual person. He has given us universal good, universal provision, universal abundance, universal necessities for life and godliness. He has given us everything that we need. But when we overemphasize the need that without God we cannot do anything, when we overemphasize the fact that we need God for every little thing, then we begin to depend just on miracles to even come out of our house. Do you know that I know a country where people don't even leave their house without praying? Because they know that there will be armed robbers on the street. Instead of starting an NGO, instead of starting a company, a security outfit to address the problem of armed robbery, instead of fixing the problem of armed robbery that is making them to be afraid of going out of their house, everybody, millions of them, will be praying before they leave house. We don't even need millions of them to fix the problem of security. We just need a few that are thinking. God already gave them the mind. God already gave them the strength, the knowledge, the know-how to fix the problem of armed robbery, but they will not. Because as long as God protects me and my family, I'm fine. Even though that same God was somewhere when they killed the other guy on the other street or in the other house that also was praying to that same God for protection, and he was robbed and killed. God didn't act. And you say, oh, we don't know why. Maybe he didn't pray long enough or strong enough. Maybe he didn't go to the right church. But I'm still here. I'm not being killed because, oh, it's mercy of God. Oh. So what about the other guy that is being killed? He didn't have mercy of God. He had the wrong God. He prayed the wrong prayer. All of you are praying to the same prayer. You are praying to the same God. All of you go to the same church. All of you are praying the same way for God to come and protect you. Yeah, his house got robbed. His car got snatched. And you are thinking, well, I'm fortunate. God answered my prayer. You know why it's the other guy that got robbed this time? It's because next time it's going to be you. It has to start from someone. Your prayer, not mine. Your prayers, not minded. Yeah, not minding all your prayers. It's going to get to you one day. And prayer not going to solve it. So why is God indifferent? Why didn't God protect the other guys in your church? You want to tell me that there is no other human being in that country that has been attacked despite the fact that he goes to church? You want to tell me that there is no other human being that has been killed even though they also pray prayer? So why didn't God act? Is it just because you are the one who is praying right? So he's protecting you because you prayed well or you go to the right church? No, it's because your turn has not come yet. They will reach you too. And your prayers won't help. I tell you that. And the banner of your church or the stickers of the church you go to won't help too. Even your own pastor. Let him, if God could help. He's praying now. Why does he need the defense, the security outfit? Tell your pastor, let him take all the securities off. Because God is protected. He knows how to pray, isn't he? Is he not the one who's praying for you for protection? Let him pray for himself for protection too. If he really believes that it's God that's supposed to provide security, let God provide for security now. Let him send the boys home with all the weapons and all the security that he's doing for himself. So a man that cannot protect his own self and has to have a whole security, somebody, that because it is right that it is you that's supposed to provide security, it's not God. It's not God's business to come and be bringing all security, doing security for every family differently. You are supposed to build a security, not just for the pastor, that can hire security for himself. All of us, it's not God's business to bring in security, I'm coming to deal with armed robbers in your country. It's not God's business. It is your business. It is my business. It is our business. And instead of them churches and pastors to just be bringing security to protect themselves, they are supposed to be using that to come together and bring a universal, a total security system for the whole country that will deal with the problem of armed robbery in the country generally, not just for themselves and for their members. But the way the churches have preached it is that it is miraculous protection you need. Yes, but even though we all need God's protection, God's miraculous blessing. I don't downplay that. I'm not saying that God doesn't protect, that we don't need God's protection. We need, but on daily basis, we need to build our own structure, infrastructure, security infrastructure. And then after we have done our best, after we have built our vigilante groups, security group, and, brought about the solution to security situation as much as we can, then we now ask for God to protect us. But the way it is right now, nobody is building national security. Everybody is waiting for the government. Everybody is waiting for somebody to come, then everybody just praying in their houses. And, that God or armed robbers shouldn't come to them. Or as I go, I cover myself with the blood of Jesus. I cover myself with the Ribena and with the whatever, So it's just because we're egocentric. And this is what this message of instant gratification does. These messages these messages of miracles and breakthroughs, they just feed us with the entitlement mentality and making us to be thinking about ourselves. And we all become selfish, egocentric, and driven only by our own self-protective instincts. And we pray to God for ourselves instead of for the general good. So the message of miracles and breakthroughs has done so much harm and evil to our society. Now those messages, if we want to go forward as a nation, must be replaced. The messages emphasizing miracles and breakthroughs must be replaced if our nation must go forward. Every well-meaning Nigerian must raise their voice against these kind of messages, because these messages encourage instant gratification. These messages make us to think that we can get something for nothing. These messages make us to think that it is only God that decides human destiny on earth. But whereas everybody's destiny is in their own hands. These kind of messages make us to think that we are all paralyzed and paralytic, and that we cannot function, we cannot think, that we are totally a nation of morons. These kind of messages make us to think that we are not human, and we are not totally human. These kind of messages reduce us from being human. We lose our humanity thanks to these kind of messages. These kind of messages deny us the use of our brain and of our minds. These kind of messages, they prevent us from taking responsibility for the issues and the problems of our countries. These kind of messages make us to stand by why our nation is being destroyed and our community and society is being run down. So we really need to, every one of us really need to stand up against the messages that say, only God can do this, only God can do that. We need to begin to campaign and raise our voices against all these messages that say we need miracle today, we need miracle tomorrow. And some people think that there is a reason for it because of poverty. Well, that's an excuse. Poverty must be erased by hard work. Let me tell you that one. Poverty is not going to be erased by manna again. Yes, God did that, but he only did that one time in the wilderness, okay? He's not going to send down any manna this time. Go cultivate your ground. Go do agriculture. Go do what you need to do. By the way, people are not sharing these messages yet, and I really want to encourage you, if you believe in what you are hearing, and if you think that this message must go around, let's go ahead and share the message, please. Let's go around and share the message. Look under your video. you'll be able to see, you look under your video, you'll see a button or two there. Go ahead and press those buttons, and then you'll be able to get that. That allows you to get a copy of this message. And when you are sharing it, write something on it. Write some remarks. Write people why they should need to listen to it. Tell people why it is necessary for them to listen to it. Let them know why they need it. Why they need it. So what I'm trying to say, friends, is that the message of delayed gratification is what we need. Our pulpits must replace these messages of miracles, breakthroughs, with the message of instant gratification. Delayed gratification. I'm going to talk to you about delayed gratification. I'm going to talk to you what delayed gratification means. But first of all, I just want you to know, and for your eyes to be open, how deadly the messages of miracles and breakthroughs have been to our communities, to our countries, to our nation, to our society, to our families, to our churches. That, our churches must know that, yes, even though we believe that God does miracles, yes, even though we believe in the miracle power of God, but God will do the miracles only after we have done our own part. We should not be emphasizing miracle too much. We should not be pushing for miracles too much. He said the signs and what shall follow you. Miracles are supposed to be following us. We don't even talk about it. Jesus has not, there is nowhere you will see in the Bible that Jesus was preaching about miracles. He's not preaching, that is not his focus. He's told his disciples that do not rejoice about these things, that demons are obeying you, that healings are taking place, and all the miracles are taking. Don't rejoice about these things. Rejoice about the kingdom, that your names are written in the book of life. Rejoice about the reality of the kingdom of God. Those are the things that you are supposed to be rejoicing about. So we must know that we are doing a disservice to our country. We are doing a disservice to our nation when we keep on pushing the messages of miracles and breakthroughs. Like, for example, this whole last month, this whole month of December, even starting from November, there are some churches that are having program every day. There are some churches that are having programs every day, making people to come to church, to come and sit down there, not just on Sundays. This is from Monday to Friday, Monday to Sunday. And every time they go, they have to give some money or offering and go and pray and asking God to do things for them. Instead of them to, how much work they would have created, how much services they would have produced, how much would have been added and contributed to the economy. And we're talking about economic recession. We create economic recession by all these kind of messages. These messages alone are responsible for economic recession. You know how many inventions would have been discovered if all these people have been in the laboratories researching? If they had been in the research institutes, all these millions of people in the churches? You know how many discoveries we would have gotten for answers for all our problems plaguing us? You know what kind of answers people would have been discovering if all these people have been in the libraries? Writing, thinking, and, searching, researching. You know how many answers we would have gotten? But people become lazy on a national level. Many people, it is when they get to Europe, they discover that they have really been lazy before. We think we're hardworking when we're at home. But when you get to Europe, when you have to go to work every day, then you discover that, wow, we were not doing anything back at home, really. Because we have been taught not to work. We have been taught to pray. We have not been taught to be diligent. We have been taught to fast. We have not been taught to the dignity of labor. We have been taught to be faithful to the pastor and to the denomination and to show up every Sunday. Not just every Sunday. Some people show up every day. We have turned our churches and our members to slaves. Through these messages of miracles and breakthroughs, people are now more like slaves than they are human beings. We have made our members to be zombies. People cannot question anything in churches. People just have to gum like cattle. and just do what pastors tell them to do. They hang up their brain in the car park and in the garage and come to the church empty-headed and not question anything and just do things because the man of God has said it. Anyway, let me go to the second part of this. So what is the message of delayed gratification? Because otherwise I would not get to talk about that. So what is the message of delayed gratification, my dear? Delayed gratification is the ability to be able to control yourself and convince yourself that you need to restrain yourself and refrain from getting immediate or instant benefit for anything you are doing right now, so that you could work harder, be more persistent, and be more steadfast to produce more, do more, that at the end of the day, you'll be able to get better reward, greater profit, than if you had received it immediately. Let me say that again in a simpler way. Delayed gratification, therefore, is simply making a choice, constantly convincing yourself, yourself make a choice to hold back, convincing yourself to constantly refrain yourself from pursuing immediate gain or profit, but rather to constantly make a choice to limit that ability or that desire of the flesh, that animalistic desire to grasp right now, to take, get something now, be rewarded immediately. But delayed gratification is more than that. Delayed gratification is also the assurance that when I delay my satisfaction right now and my reward, that I must, delayed gratification involves a solid faith in the laws of nature and in the laws of God, in the laws of creation, that if I could delay that gratification, you must have a solid faith that you will get better reward eventually. That after delaying gratification comes greater reward, better profit, and greater glory. You must have that faith. This faith is part of the reason why delayed gratification is worth it. If you don't have the faith in principles, and if you don't believe in absolutism of the truth, if you don't believe that the principle of delayed gratification will eventually reward you better than to have instantly gained what you needed, then you will not do it. So the faith in the absolutism of the truth is an integral part of delayed gratification. You must know, because some people will say, oh, not in Nigeria, why should I study hard? Why should I work hard? But the principle of delayed gratification says, if you work hard, you will be rewarded at the end of the day. If you study hard, finish first class. If you study hard and you are the best in your class, you finish first class, that delayed gratification, what is delayed gratification in getting first class? Delayed gratification in getting first class is that the reason you got that first class is because you didn't go to play for instant gratification when others were pursuing instant gratification. You didn't go to discotheque and waste your life for instant gratification. But instead of going to get instant gratification like all others, play around and do all that, you were denying yourself that instant gratification. You delayed that gratification by going to pay the price of going to the library to study, going to the laboratory to research, and you are not doing things that could give you instant pleasure right now. You are denying yourself pleasure of the moment. Because you know that when you get to first class, when you try hard and you become the very best, that you will be rewarded. But if you have more faith in the systemic failure of the country, which is normally what happens in developing countries and Nigeria in particular, that, oh no, the system will not work. Oh, even if I get first class, and you will be reminding yourself of only the bad examples. Oh, I know somebody there who finished first class and never got a job. Oh, so why should I try? If that is the kind of mentality you are having, then you don't have faith in absolutism of the truth. You don't have faith in principles. You don't believe in principles. But if you don't believe in virtues and principles, you are not building your life on anything. You are building your life on thin air. So even though everybody that finishes first class in your country doesn't get a job, but you must believe in the absolutism of the truth of God. You must believe in the absolutism of God's word and in the integrity of that word. And the integrity of your belief must say, I don't care how many got the job or how many didn't get the job, but I am going to do what is right anyway. Delayed gratification demands from you to say, I will do what is right, because the thing that is right will reward me better at the end of the day. What is right is more profitable. What is right, it will reward. But other people will be convincing you, and they will be telling you that what is right does not matter. That what is right does not work in this society. It could work somewhere. It could work in that country. It could work in Japan. It could work in America. It could work in Europe. But in our country, yeah, it won't work because everybody is corrupt. But you must be more convinced and dedicated to the integrity of the truth, to the integrity of the word of God, to the integrity of what is right, than you are committed to the flaws and of humanity around you. You must be more committed to the truth of God's word and to the truth of what is right than you are committed to the flaws of the society that you live in. So one of the strongest dimensions of delayed gratification is to convince people to have faith in the truth. And that's what I was referring to the other day when I spoke about the school thought of philosophy. You know, the worldview, two philosophical schools of the world, and two worldviews, philosophical worldview of our world. The philosophical worldview that we belong to is the idealistic philosophy. Is the idealism. It's called idealism. What idealism means is that we believe in the power of the invisible virtues. We believe more in the power of things that we cannot see, that they override the things that we can see. So I must believe that what is right, and it will win at the end of the day. I must believe that the truth is more powerful than the reality that I'm seeing right now. If the reality that I'm seeing right now is that my nation is corrupt and nobody who finishes first class gets a job, I don't care even if they don't get a job. I know that I still must finish first class. I still must believe that doing your best, knowing better than everybody else, will reward me better at the end of the day. I still must have that faith, because not because I believe in Nigeria or I believe in the country or I'm not talking about what I see. I am talking about the principle. The invisible principles are more valuable. They are more rewarding and they are more everlasting. They are more sustaining. than the physical things, reality that I'm seeing right now. So even though the reality that I'm seeing right now is that these things don't work here, but I don't care if they work or they don't work, they are still the truth anyway. That is why I'm a believer. And that's why I don't see God, but I believe there is God. That is what idealistic people believe. That is the idealistic, worldview in philosophy. But the school of thought in philosophy says that, what I don't see, but it's not working now. I don't see the result. So I don't see the result, I don't believe it. That is the materialistic worldview. The materialistic worldview is what the atheists believe. And they say there is no God because I don't see God. They believe that only matter, even human beings come from matter, with only, neutrons and things, only things that are seen and could be felt. Only the reality that we see really exists. The reality that we don't see don't matter. So they will believe, for example, that if the government is corrupt, it means that all those principles of truth, of like hard work, integrity, delayed gratification will not work because it's not working. Show me the fact, show me the evidence that it works. So, but we believe that no, virtues are more powerful than the reality that we see right now. Because all the realities of houses, buildings, television, industry, technology, electronics, all these things come from the invisible world. They come from the world of ideas. Ideas are invisible. So they are invisible stuff that create the visible things. If I believe in the right invisible ideas, if I believe in the right invisible those virtues that are right now invisible, if I will believe strong enough and long enough, from out of those virtues, from out of those truths will come another reality that will confirm what I believe to be true. And my belief system will create another reality that will supersede and replace all the temporary realities of evil that we are seeing right now. So, but we Christians sometimes say we are Christians, we believe in God, which is supposed to be idealistic worldview. That the things that are not visible, values and virtues, are more powerful than the reality of things that we say. But even though we say we are believers, but we don't understand what is worldview. We don't even understand the concept of worldview. So we say, okay, I am a believer, but things don't work in that country. Things don't work. They cannot work. See now. So we are saying we believe in the invisible stuff that as they are stronger and they will come to replace the visible things. But we are saying, I believe in God, but see what I see now. So we don't really we don't have a worldview that if I believe in God, that means that virtues must be stronger for me than the things that I see. But I still submit myself and make myself a slave of what I see. I became incapacitated. And I become enslaved by what I see because I don't have faith in my own invisible realities that I profess to believe in. So therefore, I became enslaved by the physical things that are around me. And the things that are around me damage me. And I become a slave to them. And I say there's nothing I can do. So man therefore becomes a slave to the reality around him. Man therefore begins to pray and to God to come and help him, remove the flood instead of building the bridge himself. The flood, instead of him building the irrigation system or the blockage for something, he begins to pray that God should transport him, through the forest from one town to the other, because he wants miracle, instead of himself to begin to say, no, God has made us to be, creators with him. He has made us to manage the earth. So if he has made me to manage the earth, to have dominion on the earth, so I can subdue this forest. Let's clear the forest. Let's build road. Instead of waiting for God to come and teletransport me from here to the other city, let's build road. Instead of waiting God to come and do miracle and teletransport me from one continent to the other, let's build planes. He has given us dominion to rule here. Let's build planes. That building of planes comes from the belief that I am made to rule and reign. That invisible belief, that invisible promise is what plane comes from. That invisible promise that I am the one to manage you is where roads come from. That invisible promise that we are here to represent God, to act in the place of God, is where hospitals come from. Instead of just waiting for God to come and just heal, we build hospitals also. And those things are only possible when you have delayed gratification. You must be able to, because for you to build hospital, you must be able to, delay immediate answer, your desire for immediate answer right now. You must be able to have patience to research, to build a structure, to build a sketch, to be able to research how hospital is made. That could take you years. That is patience. So you are delaying the immediate, you are denying yourself immediate gratification and using that time to develop projects that will be able to help you to build that hospital that will now serve people for generations and generations to come. But people who don't have that delayed gratification mentality, they want miracle now. So they would rather go to the man of God to lay hands or to give offering or to give prophetic offering and go to the mountain and go and ask, I'm okay. But you are okay, but many other people are dying. That's why you need to be in the hospital. So that it's not just who is okay. Yes, God protected you from the armed robbers, but it's killing other people. That's why we must deny ourselves the comfort of just ourselves having the protection and go and go through the pain of building a security system for the whole land. Until our messages change in the churches and every church begins to talk about delayed gratification rather than instant gratification of miracles and breakthroughs, we will never build a nation that is sustainable, that works, and that is able to make a difference in our world. What do you people think about what I'm saying? Do you people get it or you have a problem? Huh?
I think I understand.
Tell us what you understand.
There's a lot here. I think the picture that I get in my mind is the picture of if you had a craving for an apple.
Can you move your chair to this side a little bit? Yeah. Because when it's against the light, it doesn't show very well. More.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So if you have a craving for an apple, you can go to the store and just get a limited amount of apples to feed your craving now. Or you could plant an apple tree and feed yourself and the next few generations of your life with delayed gratification. And with that picture, you can see how if you can take the time to learn what you need to learn, to cultivate what you need to cultivate now and delay that gratification, what you ultimately will get is a product that what you ultimately will get is a product that will actually not only feed you and what you need, but it will actually feed people around you, actually feed many generations after you. So I think that's what Pastor is trying to say. I don't know if you have specific questions.
Okay, yes. One of the questions I would like to say, I'll ask you is that how does delayed gratification how is it better than messages of miracle and breakthrough? You think about it while I ask her. What does she think about all these things I've been saying? Tell us who you are, please. Again,
okay.
People today.
All right. I'm Yuriti Ujikwa, and I'm visiting pastor.
Yes. What have you been hearing today? This message. What do you think? How do you think? What have you been hearing? Yeah. What do you understand?
Okay. Today we have been talking about the message of delayed gratification, and that it must replace the message of breakthroughs and miracles. And it's so true because as we've been examining since yesterday, there is so much emphasis on miracles and all that, and which means people are looking for something instant. It's like that prayer that someone said, God, cure me of impatience right now, you know, that kind of thing. It's like, this is all that it's about. Everybody wants everything done now without wanting to learn the process and all. So it's like we're learning that if we can do just as we do when it comes to education, for instance, you put your children in school and you know it will take them like 15 years, 17 years before they will graduate. But you know it is important that they go through primary school, secondary school, you know, university, till they finish, before they can become what they want to become. In other things also, we must learn, you know, as a people to be ready to suspend the pleasure, to suspend the gratification we're going to get from something, you know, suspend it, you know, and do what is necessary now. And when you were talking, there was something that came powerfully to me, and I believe this I must hold on to and use very well. Maybe I knew it before, but the way you said it, it just blew my mind. You know, you said something like that if I believe in my own invisible, how did you say it? Believe in the power of the invisible virtues, you understand? You know, I must believe in it. It's not enough to just say, oh, I won't do what they are doing. They are doing wrong things, I won't do these wrong things. You know, but more than that, we must believe in the power of that, the virtues, you know, that I possess, that I walk with, the truth that I know and I walk in. It is when I believe strongly enough that it also has its rewards, that I'll be able to stay through. And not only stay through, that I'll be able to look and fight for it and see that it brings result. Because if it does not bring result, it means if I spend 10 years, 15 years, you know, delaying my gratification, seeing everybody doing the wrong things but not doing them, but I don't bring the results, I don't, positive results don't come out of it, eventually it will discourage many people who are looking at you from going that path. So I have to fight for it. I have to make it work and stay through to the end, believe in it. And so today I just told myself, I said, look, many people I know in Nigeria, my country, for instance, they not many people, some people who at least are trying to live the right way, they're not living the right way with stress, in energy, in confidence, in conviction, in it's like they are resigned to faith. Like, what can I do? I'm a believer. I can't do it the way everybody is doing it. So it's like one being envious of the evil people. Like, you see what they are doing, they are making it, but you can't do it. But you're not confident. You're not holding on and believing strongly that what the path you're following is actually better. It's rewarding. It has its own rewards, and that you're going to get them. You're going to make sure that the rewards get to you. So that confidence is what I'll take away.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, the question I asked you, do you still remember?
How is delayed gratification better than miracles?
Yes, and I'll also ask you the same question later on. And then the next question will be how delayed gratification affects a nation and how it will help develop the country. I will also ask you that later.
So, miracles are, they're instant.
I'm sorry, yes, Caroline. Please, everybody is here now. Please go and share the message. Go and share this message. Not too many of you have shared it. Less than half have shared the message yet. And that's the only way you'll get a copy of this message, if you press the share button. If you share the button, the message, then you will get a copy of it and you'll be able to watch it later on and be able to spread the word. So let's go share the message and write something. Write some comments as you are sharing it as well, so that other people might be able to be blessed and benefit from this. Yes, please.
Okay, so with miracles are instant, but they don't actually guarantee sustenance. They don't guarantee that it will be sustained. So whatever miracle that you're hoping for, it may come, but if it comes, there is no guarantee that it's going to be able to be sustained. And the things that sustain miracles are principles. The things that sustain miracles are value systems. That's number one that's wrong with miracles. Number two that's wrong with miracles is that it doesn't have anything to do with you. We do still believe in miracles. Miracles will happen, but they actually don't have anything to do with you. If a miracle happens or if it doesn't happen, that's not any of your business. God will do a miracle if he wants to do a miracle. He won't do a miracle if he doesn't want to do a miracle. So it doesn't make sense for you to put all of your attention on something that's completely out of your control and has nothing to do with your own decision. And then number three it doesn't develop, like I said earlier, it doesn't develop any character, it doesn't develop any principles that sustain anything that you get in life, that sustain success that you achieve in life. And so the delayed gratification, in contrast, actually helps us not only to get what we seek, but also to sustain what we get. And then also it allows us to develop principles that will help us to build upon whatever we get. And then number three, it is something that is in your control. It's something that God has left in your hands. It's something that he actually finds joy in seeing you being able to cultivate. He's giving you gifts, he's giving you talents, he's giving you insight, he's giving you vision, and he finds joy, and he knows that you will find your greatest joy in being able to use these gifts and these talents to develop what he's created you to develop and to cultivate. And so that's what I see, the difference between miracles and delayed gratification.
Okay, thank you. Now, Ireti, what do you think about that?
Yeah, as you talk about the delayed gratification.
Miracles. Why is delayed gratification better than miracles?
Okay. From what you said, delayed.
And the next question would be, how does delayed gratification benefit the country?
Okay.
The messages of delayed gratification, why should they replace the message of miracles that we have right now?
Okay. From what you said, it makes morons of us. Like, it makes us deny the use of our brains. Instead of using our brains, we're thinking, it's going to be done by God. We only need to pray right. We only need to pray long enough, and it's going to happen. And that's not how God designed us. Mr. Nigeria, that's not how God designed us. God designed us to think. It gives him pleasure to see us use our brains. And so many things are hidden. They're like puzzles. He wants us to find them. He wants us to find. The game of life is about finding the answers, because they've been there from the beginning. So if we are constantly asking for miracles, we're not going to be using our brains, and this is not God's will for us. And like you said, like manna from heaven, at a point it had to stop. Just like that in Nigeria, we should look at oil as our manna from heaven, and we've been taking it, and somehow it's just been giving us the immediate to eat and get away with. We've not been refining it. We've not been doing anything with it. We've not been making, we've been flaring our gas. We've not been bringing the byproducts from this, other countries that don't even have this manna. They make use, when they get the crude oil from us, they make use of it. Now it's time, when you think of it that way, you see that in a nation as a whole, we should just take away that mentality of, we get it and we spend it. I want it and I will use it. But we should start thinking of how we delay that gratification. We make better use, for instance, of our oil or whatever it is we get. We squeeze things out. We use our mind and our brain, to bring things out. Because when we're just eager to take what we see, to take it at the instance, we lose the beauty of it and what it's really, the potentials that are really in it. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Now I'll come back to Caroline, but before I do that, I would like to say, if you have not shared this message yet, you might want to go and do that. So let's go and quickly share the message and write something as you are sharing it. Write some comments or some remarks so that people will know. Actually, this message, I've only started. This delayed gratification, I will have to continue in the evening. I've only given like 5% of the message. So I'm going to be continuing it in the evening. But, what I've discovered, I'm going to be on this topic for as long as possible until this message gets to our country. So how does the message of delayed gratification help a nation develop rather than the messages of miracles?
I think I said something like this yesterday, but when we are constantly focused on miracles and we're constantly looking for those miracles and spending all of our energy on those miracles, we actually blind ourselves to the issues that are before us. And the thing about it is that when we are looking for miracles, it stops us from solving problems. And in the sense of a nation, in the sense of a nation's progress, all progress of any nation is built on the ability to identify problems and then to develop solutions. And so we can't do that if we're constantly looking for an instant solution to come from heaven. We need to find one that's going to be sustained in long term. So if we sometimes when we hear the word instant gratification and delayed gratification, we only are focusing on the word instant and the word delayed. But that's not where your focus should be. Your focus should be on the scope and the sustenance of the word gratification. It's the gratification that should be our focus, not that it should be now, but that it should have a wide scope and that it should be sustained. But when we are focused on instant gratification, it immediately makes each of the individuals in any society selfish. It makes them want something now for what they're feeling now, but they're not thinking, how is this going to affect my kids? How is this going to affect my grandkids? How is this going to affect my nation? How is this going to affect my neighbors? The scope of the gratification should be our focus, not on whether it's delayed or if it's instant. The determination of what we go after should be, what is the actual gratification? Is it just me that I'm helping, or is it all the people around me? Is it the generations that will follow me? And I think that is how it affects a nation, is that it makes that nation in like all of the efforts are being put into individual satisfaction instead of building as a nation, building a legacy, you know, and that.
So,
you know.
Which is better then? Because you said the focus shouldn't be either it's immediate or it's delayed.
Yes, because when we think, okay, we say.
So if you say that, somebody could run away with that and say, oh, there's no difference then in being delayed or instant. There
is a difference, but the thing is that delayed gratification allows us to have a better scope of gratification.
So that's what we want.
Yes, that's what we want. Okay. But what I'm saying is that when we hear delayed gratification, we think, oh, that doesn't sound satisfactory. I don't want to delay anything. I want what I want now. But if you focus on the fact that there's going to be a scope that is much bigger than what you want now, then the delay doesn't matter as much. The bad feeling that the time doesn't matter anymore. That's really what I'm after. It's not really about, I know instant is different than delayed, but don't think of it as, oh man, that's just so much work. Think of more so, look at the glory that is at the end of the delayed gratification, and then look at the menial gratification of instant. You know, we want to go after the one that's going to give us the bigger reward at the end of it.
Thank you. Okay, how will delayed gratification benefit Nigeria, for example?
Okay, I'll use the example you used about the armed robbers. That if they come into a house, for instance, they are coming into different houses. People pray every day before they leave their houses. In Nigeria, as for example, they pray, and this is so true, Pastor. They pray. Everybody wants to like cover themselves with the blood of Jesus, cover their big vehicles with the blood of Jesus. In fact, if you see their cars, their vehicles, they have stickers. You know, they are more Christians than Christians themselves. You know, all cars have. My car is covered, my this is covered and everything. You know, they're so afraid of what will be when they get out there. You know, but you know, when you look at it, it's like, you know, they are looking at I mean, is this thought of somebody solve it for me, somebody get it done. I can't put in the stress, the process of getting the solution that makes people to put their hearts, you know, on this rather than focus on building. Because to build takes time, to build takes effort, to build takes energy, it takes risks, patience, you know, and that is what is lacking. So this is what the preaching of miracles and all, instead of delayed gratification, is doing to many of us. It's like, even as children, even parents are quick to say, look, you must pass this exam. You must, you know, my son must pass this exam. And so they, rather than allow the son or daughter to do the exams right, the WAEC or JAM and everything, they're ready to exchange money just to make sure that this child doesn't do it twice, 3 times, because in Nigeria you can actually do it 5 times, even when you're brilliant. You know, somehow the competition is so much, there are so many people for so few slots, you know. So rather than wait for the child to do it and do it well until he gets through. Yeah, the parents wants to help. You know, they help. They tip the lecturers, they tip whoever needs to be tipped or something to get them to we're not raising people in that culture of delayed gratification. Everybody is wanting everything done instantly. We want things done our way, you know, and that is why nothing is being built. You know, the pain of building it's just not there. Look at our Nollywood, for instance. Our Nollywood, like she was saying something yesterday. It's so true of our Nollywood. Like, they're very lazy with their scripts. It's getting better now. As I was telling you, Pastor, yesterday, it's getting very better. We go to the cinemas now to watch films that are, I mean, good in quality and all. I mean, but this was what was wrong with our stories for a very long time. A writer is building a good storyline. You've gotten to the point that you're enjoying how all this is. You, as the viewer, you know where the problems are. But, you know, for the writer to show you how they will understand or get to find out what was the problem and all that, you know, it's like he can't think through. After he has told the story up to this point, the next thing he shows, you just go to Babalawo's house and find the trick. And they find out that it was this person that did it. Oh, they just go to it. I mean, what a way to solve it. It's like it can't take the pains, the rigors it takes to bring, as that message has gotten to that point, to be able to link it to different things in the society. And they can research to find out, okay, if someone has a mental issue, what could it be? The next thing they want to say, oh, he was trying to kill somebody. He was trying to, you know, the same way people think on the street. You know, so the laziness, it has brought some laziness into what we do, how we do things. You know, as you said, it would take, we must believe much, you know, in the message of delayed gratification for us to do researches, for us to go to the laboratories and spend time to bring out results from the laboratory. We must believe, we must be ready to delay, even when it's not certain what answers we're going to bring or how many times we're going to fail before we get there. We must be ready to put in the hours, believing that there is reward if we stay through, you know, if we stay through to our virtues and what we believe and all that. Yes, I think it has affected us in that way. Even in the issue of marriage, you know, God embassy here, it's a blessed place. Every single, maybe I shouldn't say every single, but all the ones I've met are all virgins, you know, and they're marrying as virgins, which is beautiful, you know. It's like they've been taught, yeah, I said,
what about in Nigeria? Is it not the same thing?
Pastor, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Even in churches.
You can only find someone here who is not a virgin.
Yeah, I mean, everybody is marrying as a virgin. Every
in this church.
25, 30 years, they're virgins. Once they've given their lives early enough, you see, they all understand why they should, you know, delay gratification. And that helps. It helps to put order in life. You see, because even though we don't often connect it, most divorces, you know, you can trace them to fornication or adultery. And then even when you talk of the adultery, sometimes the adultery is being committed with someone, you know, the man is committing with someone who is not married. So the more, I mean, if the ladies are taught to delay their own gratification, for instance, they are not, you know, people are not available out there for men to cheat with. It makes the man to value his own wife more. He knows he's not going to get it anywhere else. He stays with wife. So when God says he doesn't want fornication, it's not just because he doesn't want us getting pleasure, you know, he wants to be strict with that. No, it's not that. Because it brings order to our world, that somebody is not getting it from somewhere. It makes him to behave better at home. It makes her to behave better at home. And then if it is not going to be easy for him to just come out and see, you know, just anyone ready to give in, then he works at his marriage. She works at her marriage, you know, that kind of thing. So delayed gratification in the sense of, you know, even fornication and all that, as in staying pure till marriage, you know, it's not having that culture is destroying that thing, even in our life, in our culture in Nigeria. You know, you find out that many people are finding it difficult to wait, even though they are in church, even though they are in the choir, even though, you know, they should have been taught otherwise. These are not even subjects that people dwell on, you know, on our pulpits. It's not something they spend time on. Like here, you know, I've seen that it's a major thing. It's a major training for ladies. They kind of get it very right, you know. So delayed gratification, without it, you find out that we ruin the culture, we ruin we don't build, we don't do things that endure, and this is a painful thing that we're seeing right now.
Okay, thank you. So, the role of delayed gratification, why delayed gratification is good for the country, is that if you don't have delayed gratification, then you're going to have instant gratification mentality. If a country has instant gratification mentality, it means there will be bribing in that country. Bribing will be widespread because you want immediate gratification. And because we want them to give you immediate result, you will bribe. Secondly, because it's immediate gratification will demand you will even find people getting passports, 2 passports, 3 passports, or people who are not even qualified for passports, who are not even citizens of your country, will come and buy off your country because of corruption, because everybody is used to immediate gratification. So the officers and officials, or people, politicians or officials, people who are in position to defend the interests of the country, they will be easily gratified by bribes. And because they will be giving bribes, so terrorists could come, militants could come and blow up they could come to the airport and blow up the whole place. Why? Because the security have been bribed. They could come to the market and with their bomb and blow up the whole place. Why? Because the police and the border at the checkpoint have been giving some change. So when a society is built on instant gratification, which is miracle breakthrough, without delayed gratification, it means that there is not going to be security in that country. It is because of lack of delayed gratification that we have armed robbery. In a country where there is no delayed gratification, people have the mentality of instant gratification. They would rather take a gun and stop somebody and get what they need, the money they need right now, than to delay gratification and to go and work hard for it. So in a country where they don't have delayed gratification, there will be theft, there will be armed robbery. So we don't even trace those things back to those. What we will hear people talk about in our country is that, it is because of education, or it's because of lack of employment, or it's because they didn't get a job, or it's because of economic recession. No, it's because of faulty value systems. For example, there are a lot of other people in the country too who have finished university and who also didn't get a job. But why didn't they carry gun? Because of something is holding them back. That's something that is holding them back from doing what is evil is called values. But when the value of the society is saying that I must get my answer, I must get what I need anyhow, and I must get it now, then apart from armed robbery in that country, scams will be popular. You want to know why scams are popular in Nigeria and why scams are widespread? Is because of the messages of miracles and breakthroughs and instant gratification. Because everybody is looking for fast way. So the message of miracles and breakthroughs, they give birth to people who want to get answers fast, quick. So those messages, they bring about the mentality of the mindset of instant gratification, which means they will go and find a way of discerning Yahoo, just to get something quick money. Why? Because that is the mentality right now. They will go and discern a way of 419 or scams. Why? Because it is instant. The faster, the better. So they have not been told that they need to wait to create wealth. They have not been told that delayed gratification is more rewarding and that delayed gratification is more satisfactory at the end of the day. So I'm answering your question because I told you, why is it beneficial? Why is delayed gratification beneficial to the country? But you are talking about some things that are not relational correctly, like, that is easily visible. Like, see the way I'm answering. I'm connecting the principle to real life something. So, for example, somebody will win a contract to build a road. And because of immediate gratification, instant gratification mentality of miracle, fast money order, you just go and do, instead of doing the road 4 layers, 5 layers, you do it 1 layer or 2 layers, but then you economize. Everybody wants to economize. when they don't have delayed gratification mentality. So because of that, the road gets spoiled the very next year. And the money that you have spent there, you keep on spending it every year. So the money is being wasted 10 times more than the money that could have been spent one time. So because of the immediate gratifications of everybody just they build toilets or they build house and they build a whole house, then the toilet will not work. The plumbing system will not work. The water system will not function. Why? Because they want to quickly get the money. So with its mentality in a society of delayed that lacks delayed gratification, people want to do quick work and get quick salary. So they will do surface work. They will do artificial work. They will do incomplete jobs. You always find fault in what they do. They didn't do to last. For example, in England, there was a story. There was a time we were in England, and one person was called into the hotel to fix the one of the furniture that was there, and he said, this is the signature of my grandfather. This hotel was the furniture of this house, the wood floor was done in 1940s by my grandfather, and this is the first time it's been repaired since the 1940s. This is the first time 60 years later that they are calling for things to be repaired. And I'm the grandson coming to repair it. And that's why he put his signature. That is just furniture. 60 years later, there is no need for repairs. So that is what integrity does. That's what delayed gratification does. But it lasts for generations. But in societies where they want immediate gratification, and because of miracle mentality, people just do for 1 month, for it to last for 1 month. So nothing lasts. Things that have been built by fathers and grandfathers, you can't see them anymore. They have been destroyed because of the mentality of immediate gratification. When people work in television stations and something, and they do videos and films, they go and take the cassettes and CD and record the next thing on top of it, instead of them to keep the documents and delay. They don't see profit for it, but if they record something on it, they can make money instead of buying a new one. So there is no delayed gratification, and because of instant gratification, there are no records. So you are looking for tapes of where you can't find them anymore. So evil is everywhere pervasive when there is no delayed gratification. The houses collapse. Why? Because people want to rush to do it so that they will get the money quickly and go and take another contract. Because there is no delayed gratification. So then the building will collapse, and it will cost everybody more, and it will cost everybody life, money, and everything, and jail towns. But if you do it one time to last, you don't need to go to jail. Nobody will need to die. We are not paying a super high price because of delayed gratification as against instant gratification. Now, how will you assess my own answer to the same question I asked you? How will you assess my own explanations now about why immediate, let me start with you, how immediate gratification is better than miracles? Did I answer it? Will you say I answer it?
Yes,
right?
yes. You answered it very right. In fact, some things you were now mentioning, I was like, I shouldn't be the one to have mentioned that, because I see them every day in Nigeria.
And I don't live there. And I'm the one
I see them every day. I see them every day in Nigeria.
So how come I'm the one who knows it?
Pastor, you read about them every day. More than I do. But the truth of the matter is you're so correct. Everything is done.
I don't read about them. It's because I know the truth.
No, but you've not been there.
I've not been there,
but you're so constantly ever there.
No, I don't even read about this. It's the truth that I know. So because of the truth that I know, I'm explaining the truth. And so I'm so convinced of the truth, and it's so established in me that I have to actually look for examples to use. So, but the truth is what is pushing out the examples. It's not the examples. So, but I'm just saying it's because the principle is part of me. The principles, I don't need explanation for it. For you are still trying to catch up, I think. And you are still trying to really get how this thing works. But I have, I live in it. I think that's the difference. Anyway, I'm hearing it.
All right. So the thing is, in Nigeria, we have that problem, and it's ever there. You know, when something is done, a road is being repaired, and all of us, as we're looking at it, we already know that this thing is going to go bad in the next few years. Now, the money that has been released will be higher than what has been released everywhere. You know, but everybody wants something out of it. The governor wants to pick the commissioner wants to.
No,
everybody, they are not ready to. They are not ready to. You know, like
so delay their
gratification. You know, I am sure that it will make a governor happy to know that maybe 30 years after he's done the road, you know,
it's still working.
The road is still perfect, and people are like, this road is solid, because we have a few roads like that, and you can point and say, oh, this was done during Ajashin's time, and it's a pride to say, look, he did this right. At least 30 years, you know, later we can say this road was done right. You know, but there's governors that even before they leave, 3-4 years down the line, the roads are already cracking. You know, so it's like we have that, you know, almost everywhere in our nation. Like when you talk about NGOs now, in Nigeria, you don't find too many of them. And the ones you find, unfortunately, they don't even have this delayed gratification. Then you ask, how do you go into NGO work if you don't have that belief in delayed gratification? And someone starts an NGO, and all he or she is thinking about is how to make money now. He's thinking of how to make money, how to make things now, how to make a name now. Instant gratification.
Instead of
delayed gratification. And the whole essence of having a non-governmental organization has to do with delayed gratification. You know there is reward in taking care of things, you know, in working not directly for money, but working, you know, to make things work, and you know that eventually you're going to find reward there. Even monetarily, yes, rewards will come, but later, you know. But you find out that in Nigeria, no, it's not like that. Someone is going there and is thinking, how can I get money from foreign sources? How can I do this? And that, right from the day he's registering the company, it's so bad. Politicians, for instance, you know, you find out politicians. Here, I see a different thing. Someone wants to be a politician here. Maybe he has not even made up his mind or her mind yet. But he has an NGO, he's taking care of a local council, he's taking care of their needs, he's meeting their needs, he's taking care of their drug addicts, he's taking care of their alcoholics. After a while, they already know him there. It's 3-4 years down the line, it's sure that if he wants to go into, if he wants to go to politics, if he wants to become their councillor or something, he's going to win. Because he's been there taking care of the poor, taking care of feeding their needy and all that, doing all sorts. No, but in Nigeria, no. Somebody wants to go for election. Maybe he has even gone for one now and he has failed. He knows he has 4 years' time and he's going to go back. Then he goes back to his house. He's doing other things to just make, you know, you're going to, in 4 years' time, you're going to come and ask for people's vote. But he goes home doing nothing. Then some months to the time, he comes up with banners and everything, and he wants to impress the people. How do you impress the people? How are the people going to know what you can do, what you're about, that you care? No way. So what happens? Everybody comes on that day with cash. They want to share money to everybody. You know, it is the one that has the higher cash, more money, that's going to win. But if they could learn this, I mean, I believed it before I came here, but when I saw so many people who have, you know, patiently taking care of people, taking care of drug addicts, alcoholics, taking care of different sets of people, children and all, you know. You see that if our politicians will learn a little from this, you know, it will be easier for them. You know, just go to any local government at all. If you take care of them, they will remember you. Nobody can give them money and say they should vote against you, because they have already seen that before you had the position, you cared enough to come to them. You know, it's such a simple trick, and I think that's what worked here, how you could get whites to feel the church and all that. Because when you show care, love to people, they understand it. The language of love is understood. But yeah, that will involve the
yes, because our politicians want instant gratification,
yes,
rather than delayed gratification. Well, again, if you are there and you are yet to share this link, please go ahead and share the link. Please look down. Now you answered the way I wanted you to answer. You woke up after my own example.
Yeah, Pastor.
Okay, so why do you think that I was able to give, what is the difference between the way I answer those questions and the way you people are answering? What is the difference? What do you say? Well, if you have not yet shared this message, please go look under your video and you will see a share button there. press it so that you could get, to have a copy of this message for yourself, and write some comments, write some remarks so that people will know why it's important for this message to be shared. Yes, ma'am.
I think that what I observed is that you have a focus on what exactly you want the audience to take away. And so you will stop at nothing to draw out whatever explanation or whatever example that you have spent time to put inside yourself so that they can get the message. And I think that that's the difference between your example and like maybe our first examples, because we didn't have a clear goal for what we wanted the audience to take away from what we were saying. And also we didn't draw on real examples that people could also identify with and understand what it is that we wanted to say.
So anything you want to add right now?
I think I need to spend time studying about Nigeria in order to really be on the same train as you guys. But I mean, I can understand some of the principles, and I know that if I go back, I will get more. But I think that as far as explaining it to other people, I need to have more relatable examples.
No, but you live in America. That's why delayed gratification is also in crisis.
Yes, the truth is that, anybody who is successful in America is somebody who innovated, is somebody who invented, is somebody who found their own niche and worked at it and made it their own. Now, most Americans don't want to do that. Most Americans want to follow whatever system's already in place, and it's one that's what Pastor calls a slave system. It's just one where everything is cut out for you, everything is done for you.
Just do the job.
Yes. They'll just say, go to get good grades in high school, go to a good college, get good grades there, get a diploma, find a job, get your 401k, die. That's the sequence of events, and just try to be happy through it. That's really the ultimate. Have a happy life. Have 3 kids, 2.5 kids, and a dog. That's, it's all laid out for you, but that is not the height of reward. Yes, that's not the height of existence. Everybody knows what the height of existence. They see it on TV, and their celebrities and their politicians and their business tycoons, but they don't even realize that they are in a mentality of miracle kind of mentality. They may not say it's miracle, but they somehow think that there's some kind of existential or some kind of spiritual or some kind of intangible thing that has made these people to be successful. They don't realize that these people are the ones who paid the price in the beginning. These are the people who decided when they were 20 they could have gone to college or they could have gotten their degree, but instead he decided that he was going to create the first home computer. That's what's his name? Bill Gates, these are the people who said, I'm going to make my sacrifices now. I'm going to work at it. I'm going to become the best at it. And in the long run, I would have 10, 20, 30 times run circles around my peers. And that is what delayed gratification brings. It is that kind of reward that people go, oh, wow, that must have been God, or that must have been... No, these people know what the key is. They found where their talent was, where their ability was, and they just stayed at it. They denied themselves whatever kind of distraction was around them just so that they could focus and that they could accomplish what they needed to accomplish now, no matter the price, because they knew that the reward would far exceed any price they paid.
Brilliant. So, now you got it. Now you are talking. Anyway, I will continue this message about the need for the message of delayed gratification to replace the message of miracles and breakthroughs in our pulpit. I hope you guys agree with that, that for Nigeria to change, our messages must change, because so much depends on our churches, and because people become what they hear, and they listen to people in churches more than they listen to any other person. So if the message will change in the church from instant miracles and breakthroughs instant gratification to delayed gratification, then we'll be able to build a sustainable future. God bless you guys. See you tonight. Bye.